like alcoholic. There's probably a lot of newcomers in here going, oh my God. Because, you know, I think if you had told me my first day in here, hey, guess what, you got to go make amends to everybody, I would have said, what an order, I can't go through with it, I'm out of here. So if you're new, rest on the oasis that it's on down in the steps and you don't have to do it right now. And I wouldn't recommend trying to do it right now. And the reason is because, number one, I haven't done the process and I can't possibly see my part, so they're still the asshole. And number two, I can't see the value in doing the amends because it sets up the motivation to live differently in 10, 11, and 12. So it would be a waste of time and counterproductive. And what I found is that doing an amends too soon, I end up having to go make amends for a messed up amends, which is like double trouble. I mean, who wants to go back twice? So if you're new, this may not necessarily apply to you, but you'll remember some of these things when you come up on this part in your journey, and maybe some things that some people have shared may come to bear. When I think about willingness, I think about how when I ordered the P90X CDs on the TV at the late night infomercial, I was willing to go through the CDs when I ordered them. And it was a funny thing, when they got here, it was a different story. My willingness evaporated, you know. And my observation is that, since I've been here for a minute, is that in my experience, that can be what happens to amends too. Because in our book on 67 and 70, it talks about in two different places unequivocally we're willing. There's no if we're not willing. It says we're willing. It says we've seen the people that we've hurt by our conduct and are willing to set the matter straight. And then on 70 it says if you've done an inventory, you've written down a lot. You've seen the futility and fatality of the situation. You've seen what it's done by your conduct, and you are willing. And so there was no doubt when I was writing it, and then I began to see right toward the end, I was willing. But just like P90X, when the shit came, it's a little bit different. I'm running for cover, right? That's when you start hearing these conversations about, well, you know, I don't know, I need to run it by some people. That may not be, I might not need to make amends. And then we start trying to find loopholes and put them in this pile over here of injure them or others, and God forbid I'm another, which is not the case. And I have to chuckle when I hear these conversations, and they come by naturally, right? But here's the fact. Isn't there some of those people on that list that aren't in that gray area? There's no doubt that I owe an amends, right? I mean, why do we have to focus on the ones that may or may not? Or, you know. So my point is this: stop having conversations and do something, because your life is at stake. I've seen people get high on purpose so they don't have to do nine, so they can start back over. You may think that sounds crazy, but it's not, because that's how scary this thing can be. But I can tell you that there's a process where it can take all the fear and all the uncertainty out of it. And for me, that's called having a script and knowing what I'm going to say. Because, see, going to these people is very uncomfortable. That's why my sponsor made me memorize a script, and I highly recommend this. And I'm going to tell you why it's important to know what I'm going to say before I get in there. Because there's some traps I can fall into. So I went and made amends for breaking in this guy's house. My sponsor made me pick the hardest one first. I mean, that was kind of unambiguous, right? I mean, there was no gray area there. I went in the dude's house and took his money. So he's waiting in the car, and I go in, and I had the script, and I was glad I did. So I said, I'm Mike, and I'm working the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. I won't be able to stop drinking until I clean up the wreckage of the past. I was selfish, dishonest, and inconsiderate, and I wasn't thinking of your feelings when I broke in your house and took your money, and here's the money that I took from you. See, and that I run it off quick like that because I still remember it. And what is that script saying? It's saying that I'm owning what I did, right? And I'm here to make it right. So these people are still reeling because they're not used to hearing language like that. And let me talk about the traps, because the traps is what they're used to hearing. But this can backfire really badly. So one of the traps I can go in, if I don't know the script, I'm going to go in there and say something, I'm sorry. That's why our book says we don't say I'm sorry. So that sets me up for them to be able to go, I know you're sorry, motherfucker. So you don't want to set yourself up, because then they got you retort. You want to keep the control of the situation. That takes the fear out of it, right? So we got to stay away from the word "I'm sorry" at all costs. At all costs. It just doesn't come out of the mouth because it's a no-win situation. The second trap that's one of the biggest ones, if I don't know the script and I don't know what I'm going to say, is I go in there and say something along the lines of, "I was drunk, dog, I wouldn't have done you that way." Or "I was high." What does that mean? I was high. It really wasn't me that did it. Well, motherfucker, it sure did look like you. Okay? It looked like you. I don't know. See, well, I'm setting myself up again because at that point, I'm blaming it on the alcohol in whatever form and not owning it myself. But you can see how easy it would be to fall right into that. "Man, I was high. I can't even remember. You know, they told me the next day." How much of that are they wanting to hear? This much. Zero. And you're about batting zero right about that point because you have messed up bad, right? Because all of a sudden they're pissed off and they ain't hearing another word. They've shut down. That's the second trap, right? In our book talks about we don't make bones about our drinking. That's what that's called. Making bones about my drinking. Blaming it on that instead of me owning it. Third trap, most important. This is what can happen if I go in there and I stay too damn long. This ain't no family get-together. This ain't no let's talk about old times. This ain't to stay there for an hour and let's catch up on the kids and show me the fucking pictures. This is to handle business and get out, because this is what happens if I don't get out. Invariably, what happens? I run out of stuff to talk about. I've done laid myself bare, and the only place left to run is, this is the third trap. Well, you know, I was wrong, bro, but you were an asshole too. Oh my God, there I am. Third trap, cold busted. Done ruined everything I've said up to that point. You can see how natural this stuff is. If I don't know what I'm going to say, it's trap number 3. It's curtain number 3, Carol Merrill, if you're old enough to remember who that is. Oh my God, right? So it's like trap number 3, it's, "Yeah, I'm sorry, dog, but you were an asshole too." And let's talk about that because I'm real uncomfortable about talking about my shit. I've done enough of that. Let's talk about what you did for a minute. Wrong answer. See, all of a sudden, I've done laid waste everything I've tried to do up to that point. So let me cover this and recap so I can shut up because I know I've probably gone on about 7 or 8 minutes now. But this is golden information, see, because I've done all this. I've fell in all the traps. I know how it outcome. I know the best way to do it, and I'm just trying to share with you because I know you may be afraid about this shit. Number 1, if you're new, don't worry about it right now. If you work the rest of the steps, you can see why you're doing it. Number 2, have you a script. Get ready. You know what you're going to say. If you want the script, you get with me after the meeting. I'll email it to you, text it to you. I still have it on my phone. Know what the traps are and don't fall in them because you don't want to go back and make amends for a messed up amends. You want to get in, get out, and, you know, I ain't interested in ever seeing that dude again and have not ever seen that dude again. But you can make no mistake. It had the effect it was supposed to. Because after I did that amends, the dude that I just told I broke in his house said, "Hey man, I'm fixing to go into treatment for cocaine. Can you help me?" Now this is a true story. Now he never showed his face in the meetings. I never saw the dude again. But my point is that we can turn something around that seemed absolutely explosive. If done properly, they can be on your side before it's over. And I just want to share that with you. I've had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps and all that.